Hello everybody and welcome to the BoxingLocker.com's second vlog. I am Matt Goddard, former professional boxer, now boxing coach and fully qualified personal trainer. You can follow me on Instagram at The Boxing Locker, find me on Facebook at The Boxing Locker, YouTube at The Boxing Locker, and pretty much everywhere you could want to find me at The Boxing Locker. Okay, so today's video is a big one. In the first vlog, I talked about the stacked super middleweight division in 2021. In this vlog, I'm going to talk about the biggest fight 2021 has to offer. Anthony AJ Joshua, the gold medalist, versus Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury. Well, there is a lot to be said for this fight. We have Anthony Joshua, who is the WBO, IBF, WBA, and IBO world champion, heavyweight. And we have Tyson Fury, who is now the WBC heavyweight champion. Of course, Tyson Fury previously held all of the belts that Anthony Joshua currently has. He lost those. He was stripped of all of those when he had all of his time off. Both are enormously marketable guys, okay? You have Anthony Joshua, who's an athletic, good-looking, young, and very, very stylish guy. He appeals to the inner city young, who he is a wonderful, positive role model for. He's turned his whole life around. He's come from nothing, and he's achieving huge things in the sport. And he has done things that a lot of kids who live in London, who live in other big cities, who live globally in big cities, dream of doing themselves. And as such, he's a huge inspiration, and he's a wonderful example to those people. Tyson Fury. We all know he had difficulties with his mental health, his recovery from that, and the weight he lost, and the manner in which he's recovered was brilliant. Again, has a crowd of people that follow him now, that support him because of what he's achieved in fighting the difficulties he had, as well as just as a boxer. He's an exceptional personality. He's very enigmatic, and he's very interesting in ways that a lot of fighters aren't. And I wouldn't necessarily say that Anthony Joshua is interesting in that manner. Anthony Joshua is more of an athlete figure. He epitomizes what it means to be an athlete. He's always fit, always well, stays in shape, stays ready, stays active, looks after himself, stays healthy. Fury's a little bit more of an entertainer, and I like that. That's what the heavyweight division needs. Realistically, this is probably the shallowest the heavyweight division has ever been with regards to depth of quality. There's a lot of names there. There's a lot of peripheral names there. There's some good names coming up. But realistically, outside of three big names, with 8 to 10 names on the outside that are all of the same level, but not of the same level as those top three, you're looking at a very, very shallow pool of talent in the heavyweight division, which is sad. However, the three names that are at the top of the game are very entertaining. As I said, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and formerly Deontay Wilder, who I'm going to do a video about on another occasion to discuss what I can only call his psychological collapse. So we'll just stick to Joshua and Fury for this one. 31 and 32 respectively. Tyson Fury, the older man. The taller man, he's 6'9" to Anthony Joshua's 6'6". He's got the longer reach at 85 inches to Anthony Joshua's 82 inches. For his last fight, the second fight against Deontay Wilder, he weighed in at 19 stone 7 pounds to Anthony Joshua's previous fight against Pulev, weighing in at 17 stone 2 pounds. Good records on both fighters. Anthony Joshua with 24 wins, 22 knockouts, 1 loss. A big, bad loss, but an avenged loss. That's the key thing in the heavyweight division. If you avenge a loss convincingly, which I'm not sure he necessarily did. But if you avenge a loss, then you regain the plaudits and admiration that you previously had, which he's done. He's achieved that. Tyson Fury with 30 wins, 21 knockouts, and 1 draw. An absolutely ludicrous farce of a draw. You get idiots saying all the time, yeah, but the Wilder knockdown deserved more points because it was so convincing, and it doesn't matter that Fury was winning the rest of the fights. He got absolutely battered in that 1 round. They are exactly what I categorize them as, idiots. Fury was comfortably 10 rounds clear. Wilder won 1 round, potentially 1 round drawn. That's all I've got. The rest of the fight was all Tyson Fury, and the scoring was absolutely shambolic. KO percentage, Anthony Joshua, this is where he does have the advantage with an 88% KO ratio, 67% for Tyson Fury. Often you would say in heavyweights that KO percentage is reflective of their chance of winning and the likelihood of them winning. Not in this instance because of Fury's style, and his KO percentage reflects that style, certainly in more recent fights. Joshua debuted in 2013, Tyson Fury in 2008. He's been active as a professional a lot longer. Anthony Joshua was obviously winning his gold medal at the time that Tyson Fury was building his career from the foundations. I've mentioned what belts they have. Now, I'm just going to go through a few more little statistics, guys, a few more little things about both guys before I go into my breakdown of the actual fight itself. So significant opponents. Tyson Fury is actually very limited in his significant opponents. However, the opponents of significance that he does have are, in my opinion, greater than Anthony Joshua's. 2 fights against Deontay Wilder and 1 fight against Vladimir Klitschko long before Anthony Joshua boxed Vladimir Klitschko, or even wanted to box Vladimir Klitschko, is the best resume of any heavyweight in heavyweight boxing. The value of those opponents, the value of those names on his record far outweigh the value of all the names on Anthony Joshua's, irrelevant of what they're doing now. That being said, Anthony Joshua still has the 2nd best resume in heavyweight boxing, with a TKO win against Dillian Whyte, KO Charles Martin, TKO Brazil, TKO Vlad, an old whooped Vlad, but Vlad nonetheless. UD against Parker, TKO Povetkin. The TKO loss to Ruiz, we should discuss that quickly. He looked shook, he looked surprised, he looked stunned that a man was throwing punches back at him, and that his punches weren't just absolutely devastating Ruiz. I don't know the reason for that, but it happened. The 2nd fight, he still looked shook, he still looked afraid, and he boxed in a way that proved they were fearful. However, he boxed beautifully. It was very smart, very intelligent. And for me, it just lacked that going through the gears to try and get Ruiz out and make it a convincing vengeance, as opposed to just a sort of washed out vengeance where he got the win, but no one was really that fussed. Especially considering Ruiz came into the fight incredibly fat, incredibly unfit, and looking awful. Yeah, so obviously really good names in there, really good results against those names. Anthony Joshua has had a brilliant career so far, and he only deserves credit for that. I really like the guy. He's very humble. He comes across as a good person. As I've mentioned at the start, he's a very good example, a very positive example to young people and young people who aspire to achieve in sport, because he's generally a very good person, seemingly so anyway. Obviously, I don't know him on a personal level. Not many people will to comment on that. Tyson Fury, the absolute whooping that he gave Vladimir Klitschko was just exceptional. Like, you would never have believed prior to that, unless you had studied Fury and watched his skill set and listened to things like the comments that Emmanuel Stewart said on him, that would happen anyway. And it did happen, and it was beautiful. And then he obviously had the the regression to his mental health issues with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and drug addiction, and then subsequently made the comeback. The weight loss was beautiful, incredible effort, two really, really awful warm-up fights for that, but he had to get himself back in the ring frame of mind, shake off the ring rust. Completely acceptable when you have 2 years out of the game, and you haven't necessarily been at the top for very long. Then to take on Deontay Wilder, absolutely whoop his butt for 12 rounds, barring the one round, in which even after getting hurt, he still whooped his butt. And then to come back in the second fight with a change of trainer, a completely adapted, different style, and dominate and destroy an opponent as dangerous, deadly, and Deontay, I was just saying any D's that I could think of them, as Deontay Wilder, is just incredible. And the minute he did that, I doubted he could do that, but the minute he did that, for me, he cemented his place as number one in the division by a country mile. Now, this is the time that I start discussing the actual fight itself. I am so excited for this fight. It's pegged to be in the Middle East. I presume they're the only people who could front up the money to keep it there. I don't know the involvement and investment of each promotional company and how much it's costing promotional companies to put this fight on. We shall see, I'm sure. Everybody loves leaking financial details about this kind of thing. I personally don't care even in the slightest about it. Here's my prediction. I'm just going to go outright and say it. Tyson Fury to win by TKO round 9 or 10. Tyson Fury to win, TKO round 9 or 10. I'm going to get some hate for that one. Now, one thing I will say before I go further into why I made that prediction is, this seems to be an immensely divisive matchup. People seem to think that just because you think one guy is going to beat the other, you can only be a fan of that guy. It's absolute bull. I'm an Anthony Joshua fan. I just think Tyson Fury is better than him in every way at present. I'm not a huge Tyson Fury fan outside of boxing. I'm not in love with the guy generally. I just think boxing wise, boxing skill set, boxing ability, adaptability, resolve, chin, it's just, he's got the full package, and I honestly believe he could have achieved in any generation of heavyweights, not necessarily dominated in the way I think he's going to, with the likes of Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, Riddick Bowe, these guys, but definitely achieved in that division and made difficult fights for all of those guys, whereby I don't think Anthony Joshua could have, and I don't think Deontay Wilder could have, and I don't think anybody else in the heavyweight division currently could have. So I like both guys. I just think Tyson Fury is going to win. Here's why. Anthony Joshua, prior to the first Ruiz fight, was an effective volume puncher. He threw short, snappy, and damaging combinations, especially in close. For a guy of his size, he threw wonderful short combinations, picking some great accurate shots, uppercuts, hooks, short snapping backhands, working to the body in close. He had everything. What he lacks, almost lacks in totality, is any discernible head movement. At most, you might see him roll a punch here or there. A little shoulder roll, half slip, but not enough to evade a huge amount of punches, as we saw against Andy Ruiz, as you would have seen had he boxed Deontay Wilder, and as you will see when he boxes Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury has the better cumulative hand speed. Over the course of 12 rounds, he'll maintain his hand speed, maintain his punch variety, maintain his combo throwing ability, and he will outwork Anthony Joshua in that way, because Anthony Joshua has become a one-punch, single-punch pot-shotting artist. The loss to Andy Ruiz made him fearful of throwing more than one punch and committing to his punches. And subsequently, this is all conjecture in my opinion, of course, I could be completely wrong, but subsequently he does not have what it takes to beat Tyson Fury. I personally feel that if he wants to beat Tyson Fury, he needs to regress, step back, become the Anthony Joshua that boxed for the 7-8 fights before the Andy Ruiz loss, and he needs to increase his work on volume punching and combination punching, because you cannot throw single shots at a man like Tyson Fury and expect to land. You cannot. It just doesn't work. It won't happen. Deontay Wilder proved that in 2 fights. You can swing, you can throw him with nice technique, you can throw one punch, another punch, try and counter punch. It won't matter. You may hit him once or twice a round, but not enough to nail him to the canvas as he's insisted you would need to do. The truth of the matter is, his only chance is to outwork him from start to finish and keep hurting him, keep hitting him, work the body, work the head, hit him on the arms, hit him on the hips, hit him on the back, hit him on the back of the head, hit him everywhere he possibly can to make it as hard as possible for Fury to do the things that he does exceptionally well. You have to roughhouse the man. You have to be bigger, stronger, and tougher than he is. Not bigger in a size manner, in a weight or a height manner, bigger in a controlling the space manner. Okay, you have to be in charge of that infighting domain where Fury is so damaging, and you have to know how to shut down the distance in a manner when he throws that flicky jab that prevents him from moving laterally. Okay, which means you have to slip and move at a diagonal angle to cut off the corners, to cut off the angles. For me, Anthony Joshua is not capable of that, has never been capable of that. But his volume punching, if he brings it back and if he throws a few more punches, is a big problem for Fury, because it will force Fury to rely on head movement to win, on feet movement to win the fight, rather than his usual head movement to set up his counter punches. Because Anthony Joshua has good hand speed, not exceptional, but good enough, and good combination speed that will make evading the punches a lot more difficult. Fury won't be able to sit on the ropes like he did against Otto Wallin and just sort of duck and dive and bob and weave and avoid them, because Joshua will drop the body, drop the shots in around the sides, pick the angles and throw punches from all sorts of angles that will make that a lot harder. Nothing as basic as what Fury has dealt with in the past. So my pick is that Fury will just dominate from rounds 3 to 4 onwards. Joshua will get bust up. He'll have cuts and bruises. Everybody knows Tyson Fury has a rough punching style, puts a lot of forearms in faces, uses the inside of the glove to manipulate position. This isn't cheating. It isn't new. It's things people have been doing for hundreds of years in boxing. It's the art of boxing, the ability to manipulate a person's position, the ability to open a person up by controlling space, controlling body shape, breaking rhythms. All of these things are important, and it's not cheating to use those facets of your brain to make yourself the more effective fighter. Andre Ward did it his whole career. Andre Ward manhandled Carl Froch and manhandled Sergey Kovalev in the second fight in a way that was tantamount to wrestling. It was brilliant, absolutely beautiful. Lomachenko's done it a lot in his career. He manipulates people's position using the inside of his gloves, using his body. It's good boxing. It's intelligent boxing. It's informed boxing, and it's something that only real elite level guys tend to do. Okay. For that reason, Fury gets the stoppage late. It'll be a bad loss for Joshua, but he will come back. What I'd like to see after he come back is the Alexander Usyk fight, if Usyk comes through Joe Joyce. Another fight that I'll be discussing in the future, and one that I'm very excited about. So there we have it, guys. That's it. Nice and simple. Tyson Fury to win by TKO, I believe. TKO rounds 9 or 10. Nice and simple. Anthony Joshua to have 1 or 2 good rounds early on while Fury figures out the timing, figures out the tells in Joshua's style, in his movements, and in what he does prior to punching, and then Fury dominates and gets the stoppage, the TKO. Thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out the rest of my content. Remember, find me on Instagram. Check out the videos on there. If you like the style of my content on Instagram, if you like the coaching techniques, the drills, the advice that I give on there, please check out www.theboxinglocker.com and subscribe. You can use code 50 capital O capital F for your first month's membership, half price. Okay, so that's only £10 for a month's membership to access over 150 elite level world-class coaching videos that can take your boxing to the next level, whether you're a complete beginner, complete novice, or whether you're an experienced fighter with years in the game. There's just a lot of information on there and a lot of things that I expand on in ways that I can't do on my Instagram on the shorter videos. Don't forget to find me on Instagram, on Facebook. Remember to check out all of the gear over on Venom. I have an ambassadorship with Venom, and you can use the code TBL10 to get 10% off any purchases on Venom. So save yourself some money, great equipment, great gear. Same thing for Protein World. I have an ambassadorship with Protein World. If you buy supplements, if you use supplements, vitamins, minerals, if you use pre-prepared oatmeal, pancake mix, all of these kind of things, they're all available on there. Use code BOX35 for a 35% discount on there. That is a massive saving. Make the most of it. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram once again, guys, The Boxing Locker. And thank you for watching this video. Share, comment, like, subscribe, click all the buttons, do what you need to do, and I'll see you for the next video. All the best.